Hello everyone, welcome to Merlin's Manor. Today I'm finally getting around to sharing my top 10 board games from 2023. This is a list that I've been putting off for a little while so I could get more games to the table and get more plays of the games that I already played so that I could really decide what really belongs on this list and what does not. I played 50 different games that came from 2023, and there's still other games I didn't manage to get to the table. Deliverance is one game that might have made this list. Another one is White Castle. Two games that I didn't get a chance to play, and so aren't on this list. Let me know if you think those games ought to be on this list or not, and maybe when I get a chance to play them, I'll be able to decide for myself as well. Now, there was one criteria that I added to this list, and that is that any games that are on this list have to have been unique to coming out in 2023. It can't simply be a remake, a second edition, a special edition of a game that was already in existence. And as such, I'm going to get into my honorable mentions now, and one of those games would have been the top of this list had it not been a special edition of a game that already existed, and that is the Castles of Burgundy. I really enjoyed the Castles of Burgundy. It's a 10 out of 10 game for me. It would have been the very top of this list, except I realized it doesn't qualify because it's actually just a remake of an older game. It's been blinged out, a couple little expansion kind of modules added to it, but other than that, it's pretty much the same game that came out many years ago, and so it didn't make the list for that reason. And another game that didn't make the list is the Pirates of Maracaibo, and the reason that one doesn't make the list is that I've only played it one time, and though I really enjoyed that one play of it, it's not enough to really decide if it belongs on a top 10 list. And so those are a couple honorable mentions. Let's go ahead and jump into the number 10 here. And at first there was going to be a battle between Bonsai and World Wonders as to which one belonged on the bottom of this list, and then right before making this list a few weeks back, I started playing Wild Tiled West, and it's going to be my number 10. Wild Tiled West just kind of claimed that spot. It's a polyomino placement game, and it's got a little bit of cool stuff going on with it. First of all, I really like how the tiles are drafted in this game. The first player is going to roll dice, and those dice are going to determine which tiles you can choose from. The green die that goes next to the green ones, you have to take the tile that's right next to it. And some of those tiles you have to pay a gold for, some are free. And then if it's a blue die, it's going to go next to the river space, and you can actually even pay a gold to skip spaces if you want to on that one. And so you're going to take the die and whatever tile you chose that's next to that, and the next player is going to choose what's left, and the third player, and so on. And so you're going to be able to draft these different tiles into your board, and the boards are asymmetric. They all have slightly different makeup of bonuses on them and where the different towns are, and you're trying to fill in these towns as well as do other things that are going to get you points. There's so many different ways to score points. And also along with the idea of the asymmetric powers is the opposite side of the boards have an advanced mode where you have your own kind of ability that really kind of adds to the game as well. And there's just so many different ways you're going to score points. You have these cows that you're going to try and get onto your board, and then you can choose to wrangle them by basically putting a cowboy boot down there, and then from then on you can't wrangle those cows or anything in those spaces next to them anymore. And so you kind of have to decide, do you want to wrangle them earlier and get less points and maybe a different bonus than you would if you waited later and got more points for them and a different bonus that may be better for you. And so you have a kind of push and pull there as to when you do that. You've got these cards that are on there that are going to give you points for collecting sets. You've got bandits that you get them and you can use a sheriff and a bullet to take them out, and you get points for those at the end of the game. But if you have more bandits than anybody else, when you get to these different kind of round breaks, you are going to lose points. And if you have less bandits that are alive than anybody else, you're going to gain points, and everybody in the middle just kind of stays there. And so you got the push and pull as to getting those bandits on or not. You've got bonus cards that are going to help you score points that are specific to you, that you're going to try for. All kinds of cool stuff going on in this game. That is Wild Tiled West, my number 10. Now for my number 9, it's Race to the Raft, and this is kind of a take on polyomino placement as well, but it's a little bit different. In this game, it's a sequel to the Isle of Cats, which was a straight polyomino placement game where you are placing cats out on a ship. This one, you are trying to get those cats that didn't make it on the ship to safety as the island is burning up. And so you are going to be placing down these 3x3 grids that have different colors on them, and you are trying to make the colors connect of the cat that you want to get to the raft. And so you have to try and make those colors fit so you can get them there. Meanwhile, every time you put out one of those tiles, you're also going to be placing out a fire tile, which is the polyomino shapes that you really don't want those polyomino shapes taking up too much space in the middle of the board where you're trying to get going. So you're trying to find places that you can place those out of the way. You're trying to rush certain cats down their paths so that you can have more places that you can then place fire behind them where they won't be in the way anymore. There are so many different scenarios in this game, and I really wish I'd got a chance so far to play the advanced mode, but I'm judging this one so far only based on the standard mode, which is a lot of fun. There are some times it can feel a little bit repetitive, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be taken care of when I get to those advanced modes and start using the vents and the Oshak cats and everything that's going to make things even more difficult. And on top of that, Frank West keeps coming out with some different scenarios that he'll post on the Facebook page, and that you can check those out and play those. So that's kind of a unique way that he's kept the game alive and active there as well. So let's Race to the Raft, my number 9. My number 8 game on this list is Earth. And this is a tableau building game where everybody's able to take actions at the same time. Whoever's the active player is going to choose the action that's going to be done that round. They're going to get a better version of that action, and then everybody else is going to be able to follow by doing kind of a lesser version of that action. I really enjoy that. It keeps everybody involved on their turns. I really like the tableau building aspect of this. You've got this tableau you're building out, but you have to be spatially aware of where you're placing things, because once you place them there, you can't move them, but then you're going to be activating them in order from top to bottom, left to right. And so you have to kind of think about how those are going to do that, as well as there are some cards that have bonuses for being adjacent to certain things or diagonal, and so you kind of want to figure out where you're going to place those. At first you don't know all the things that you're going to want to place in different places, so there's a lot going on and you have to kind of puzzle through in this game. There's also a little bit of a race to fill out your tableau, because whoever does that is going to get extra bonus points for being the first one to do that, and it also triggers the end game. You're going to be building up these different trees and different things to get points for that. You're going to be putting these sprout cubes on that are going to get you points as well as they can be used to be turned into food, to be able to play cards. You got bonus cards. You've got different objectives that everybody's going to be going after. There's so much, again, going on in this game, so many different ways to score points. I really enjoy Earth. That's why it's my number 8 of the games that came out in 2023. Now on to my number 7 game, and that is the Books of Time. And the Books of Time is a game where you are going to have lots of different combos that you're going to be able to do in the game. And so what you have is you have these books that you're going to be trying to fill up with these pages, and when you put those in there, you're going to be getting some benefits from those pages that you can do, and you'll turn the page after you do those different benefits, and you're going to be trying to get those pages into your book based on the symbols that are on them to be able to score bonus points. You're also going to be going up these different tracks that are going to give you special things that happen as you go up them. And that's where some of that comboing can sometimes come in, as you can go up on this one track, which lets you go up on another track and do different things like that. You can combo the books, the things that you're going to be putting into your book by waiting, and whenever you do an action, you can do as much as you can pay for the different actions, whether it's putting pages in your book, whether it's going up on those tracks. And so if you store up some resources, you can do as many of the actions as you want as you're able to pay for. And so it's very fun to be able to save up those resources and then do a whole bunch of things on your turn. And so I really enjoy this game. It's got a lot going on to it. I really like the binders that you have, that you're putting those pages in there, and then you can kind of build up an engine of being able to do different things that are going to help you to score points by the end of the game. I really, really enjoy Books of Time. I'm glad I was able to get it to the table a few more times, or one more time at least, to make sure that it belonged on this list. My next one, my number 6, is My Island, and this is one of the games that my wife and I played 2-player, and we just binged our way right on through it. It's a polyomino placement of sorts, but they're kind of hexagonal pieces that you are using here, and each game has different things that it adds to it. It's a campaign game where you are starting out very basic, and as you go through the game, you're adding more and more rules that are going to offer different ways to score points. And just the fact that it changes up so much from game to game is what really kept us coming back and wanting to play the next game and the next game and the next game. And you're going to play 24 games of this, and it's recommended that you play 3 games at a time just because they're kind of built into chapters. You don't have to do that, but we found ourselves always playing the 3 games at a time, sometimes even playing 6 games in a row just because we just really wanted to keep it going. It's one of those games that really belongs on this list because it's so much fun we couldn't put it down. And so that is My Island, and I really enjoy the polyomino aspect to this game as well as how it changed up so much from game to game. And then my next one is going to be Sagrada Artisans at number 5. And this is another one that we really binged our way through. This is a sequel to Sagrada. It's a legacy version of Sagrada. And so you're going to be changing things up as you go through this. You're going to have your own little notebook that you are going to be going through these different scenarios. And you're going to have different objectives you're going to be trying to do. And you're placing dice. Well, you're not really placing dice. You're drafting dice. Instead of placing them like you do in the regular Sagrada, you're going to be coloring in spaces. And you can't color in the same color that's adjacent to one another or the same number that's adjacent to one another. And so you have to be very careful about planning out how you're going to build out. You have to also build out adjacent to what you've already built. And so you have to be able to figure out how you can best spread out to give yourself the best options as you're going. You also have different tools that are going to help you through the game to be able to mitigate the dice rolls a little bit. And there's just so much things that I can't really go into all the details of because I don't want to spoil anything that's added to the game as you go. But it's another one of those that because of all the different things that change up from game to game, you're just going to keep coming back and playing the next one and the next one and the next one until you find yourself, oh, we're done with the entire campaign. But even after that, there are ways that you can play one-offs where you have different packs that there are a few that come with the game, and then there's others that you can buy and add to it that will add all these different other maps that aren't part of the Legacy campaign, as well as the ones that came with the Legacy campaign. You can play those ones as one-offs as well. And so we really enjoy Sagrada, especially for the Legacy aspect of this game and how it kept us wanting to keep coming back to the game. And now for my number 4 game, and that is going to be Marvel Zombies. Let's go ahead and get this out of our way and put this right here. Marvel Zombies. I really love the Zombicide system, the Zombicide games, and this one is no exception to that. It has become quickly one of my favorites. I still don't know if I like Black Plague or this one better, but I really like the theme of this one, as well as the fact that you can play either as the zombies or as the heroes. You either play as zombie superheroes. Superheroes have been turned into zombies, and so they have their own special powers as they traverse the game. And as they devour bystanders, they're going to get extra powers as well. Or you play as the superheroes fighting against the zombies and the zombie heroes, and you are trying to defend the bystanders to be able to get abilities. You are going to be doing different missions as you go through, and you have the ability to spend power to be able to roll more dice. And so there's a lot of cool stuff that goes along with this one. At the end of the day, it's the Zombicide system, so if you like Zombicide, you're probably going to like this game. If you're not a big fan of Zombicide, you're probably not going to like this game. But as a fan of Zombicide, this is one that really stuck out to me as well as a good version of that system. I don't like all of the systems as well. Black Plague and this one are my favorites of the systems I've played so far. I encourage you to check it out if you are a fan of Zombicide. And there's so much content. We got the Kickstarter, and so tons and tons of content that we have for this game, both missions, and you got these different scenarios. It's not a campaign game, rather it's a scenario game where you play these different scenarios out. And so there's a lot to do, especially if you get all the different things. And then there's more that they come out with usually online as well that you can add to that. And so I just really enjoy, there's a lot of content in this. And now for my number 3 game, and that is Apiary, a Stonemaier game. And this game is a lot of fun. You've got so much going on in this game as far as how you can score points. It's a worker placement game where you are putting out your workers to do different actions, and it has an interesting bump mechanism where if somebody goes where you are, they bump you back to your ship, and then you are able to get a stronger bee back, and then you can put your worker back out without having to take a action to get your workers back and to reclaim them. So it's kind of interesting kind of play on that, same kind of thing they did with Charterstone to a certain degree, but with the added thing of your workers are actually getting stronger when they do come back. You've got all kinds of different strategies you can focus on, whether it is to get farms onto your ship to be able to get better when you take your bees back, get more and more actions that you can do in that situation, or you can focus on trying to get carvings, which give you bonus points for different criteria being met by the end of the game. You're going to be expanding your ship and getting points if you can fill up the entire expansions as well as the original board that you start with. You're going to get points if you fill those up. There's just so much ways to score points, so many different strategies that can come into this game, and that's a big part of why I enjoy this game. And there's a little bit of a area majority type thing going on with whenever you hibernate your worker when it's gotten to the level 4 and you played it as a level 4. When it comes back, instead of coming back, it's going to hibernate and you're going to get a special bonus. And then if you have the most in that area when the game ends, then you are going to get extra points for having the most in that area, and second most sometimes will also benefit in certain areas, and you're going to get a bonus whenever you hibernate that worker. Also, I just love the fact that the workers get more powerful when they keep coming back, and so there's more you can do with them, and the 4 workers are the ones that can get the most done. They have a bonus that goes with each location that they go to, and so just a lot of cool stuff going on with this game. I highly recommend Apiary. It is my number 3 game for 2023. And now for my number 2 game, it's Life of the Amazonia. And this is a really fun game. It's got a great solo mode that I've only gotten to play once, but I played it multiple times multiplayer, and I just really enjoy it. It's got some similar vibes to Cascadia, in that you are trying to get down different terrain and have them connected to the same types to be able to score points in some different ways, as well as to be able to play different animals. You're going to want a certain terrain that they go into, and they have all the different animals have different ways they score points based on different criteria, and there's 4 different sets for each of those animals, and so you can really mix up the way the game plays by playing with the different sets there. You can even mix and match from sets. They warn kind of there may be some imbalances that happen if you do that. But it's really cool to be able to have all these different animals that you're trying to get into your habitats to score points for maybe being adjacent to certain things, or for different animals that are in their habitat. All kinds of different ways that they score points. And as I said, as you mix and match those different sets, there's going to be so many different variations. You're also going up on these different tracks as you do certain actions that are going to get you points as you get towards the end, as well as bonuses. It's a bag building game where you have a bag of very basic tiles to begin with. You're going to be trying to buy better tiles to be able to afford to pay for the animals you're going to try to attract, as well as all their different actions you're going to be doing. And so you're paying gold coins to be able to get those animals. You don't want to get too many of those gold coins into your bag, because towards the end of the game they become less valuable as you're spending less time focusing on buying tiles and more on buying tokens and more on spending the tokens. And so there's a little bit of push and pull there. I really enjoy that aspect. At first you're drawing out 5 tokens. You can only hold over 1, but you can buy space to be able to hold over more. So if you don't like the combination of tiles this round, you can hold over a couple for when it's going to be more powerful to use with others. And so all kinds of cool stuff going on with this game. There's ways to score bonuses. Really fun game. Lots going on to this game. Lots to think about. Lots of different strategies you can focus on. Really, really enjoy this game. And I really think I'm going to enjoy the solo mode once I get a chance to play it a bit more, because it offers different scenarios. I really enjoy solo games offer scenarios as their way of making the solo game, because it's not just playing the base game against an AI and doing the same thing every time with just some variants that are going to happen. We're going to set you up with a very specific scenario that you're going to have to focus on and overcome maybe some problems that are going to come along with that scenario, and try and beat a certain score in order to get the bronze, silver, or gold is the way they do it in this game. And so I just really enjoy that scenario-based solo style there. So that's my number 2 game, Life of the Amazonia. Great multiplayer and solo. And now for the number 1 game for 2023 is Ticket to Ride Legacy, Legends of the West. I really enjoyed this version of Ticket to Ride. I like legacy games and what they add to the experience, the fact that you're changing things up, that you're going through kind of an arc of games where you are gaining different abilities and your things are being added onto and changed. I really enjoy that, and this Legacy game really does that really well. As you progress through the game, the map's going to increase. You're going to be adding stickers to the board. You're going to be getting powers and different things. All kinds of cool things that are going to be going on. It changes up by adding different goals that you're focused on throughout the game. I can't go into too many details or I'll be giving you spoilers, but this really is the best version of Ticket to Ride I've played. If you enjoy Ticket to Ride, I highly recommend this game, especially if you also enjoy Legacy game, because this does both of those really well. I really like what it adds to the system there. And so it is my number one. I enjoyed playing it with my family, and it's just one of those games that we may or may not play it as much outside of the Legacy version, but with the Legacy version, it was just amazing, all the things that it adds to the game, and like I said, I can highly recommend it if you are into Ticket to Ride and if you like Legacy games. There's a 12-game campaign there. So these are my top games for 2023. What are your top board games from 2023? Let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of these games here. Which games are your favorites out of these games? And as always, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Check out some more of my content. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And I will catch you in the next one.